Hey, everybody. Dr. Diane Kaiser here. Another episode of the Cleanse, Heal, Ignite podcast on Warrior Wednesday. And I'm going to cover a lot of ground today. This is basically the highlights and the greatest hits of all the things that I have a lot of conversations with people offline in my personal life, with patients, with our VIP members. Many people are asking the same question. So when I was prompted by my social media team, what 7 topics do you want to cover this week? And I said, you know what, I'm going to do a greatest hits of all things so that you guys can hear a lot of the same conversations I have behind the scenes. And I titled this, The Best of My Daily Peptide and Supplement Stack, Fat Loss, Body Sculpting, and Beauty I'll Never Go Without. But before, I wanted to make a couple announcements that we have some specials that we extended. We had we call it Light Friday. We don't call it Black Friday. We extended it through the end of this week. So we had Cyber Monday. And some people, because I was not on the podcast last week, we always take a bye. We always take a break every, it's usually like the 4th or the 5th Wednesday, but it's the last Wednesday of every month. I take a break just to catch up on life and do some personal things. But I didn't have a call last week. We were also celebrating my aunt's memorial. She passed away. And then just this past week, actually a couple days ago, my uncle died. And so I'll share a little bit about that toward the end of this episode, who this episode is dedicated to. So I'll get to that. So make sure you hang out to the end, because I'm going to cover some really powerful options and solutions for people who are struggling with addiction, or their family is, because I don't believe addiction is what we are told that it is. And so I'll share my own personal story and my history with addiction myself. So first off, our specials are going through the end of the week. And in order to take advantage of the supplements that we offer on my supplements page, you'll see that's dianekaiser.com/supplements. We're offering 25% off of CellCore supplements. So use the code CellCore25. And then also for all of our courses, use LF, which stands for Light Friday, LF40. For all courses. You can find that also on dianekaiser.com. You just click on, the courses, programs, at the very top, you'll see all of them. We have the Peptide Power course that we just launched that many people are thriving and raving about. We also have our Parasite Full Moon Challenge, which has been a major staple for the last 5 years. I started parasite cleansing over 15 years ago and saw phenomenal transformations in my own health journey. And it's really the root of all cancer. So I believe that everybody needs to at least once a year do a parasite cleanse, if not the first 3 months after never having done one, and then do one every quarter. So that's a really helpful course, as well as the Warrior Cleanse. That's my foundational flagship course that walks you through drainage. What is drainage? Why is it so important? It's the number one thing that people are struggling with now. When your doctor tells you, oh, you have clots, or you have blood flow issues, or you have low hemoglobulins, or you have iron deficiency, or I hear this so much these days. People are having heart attacks and strokes and lots of issues in the brain. Your body's not flowing. It's basically like you're a pond, and it's just stagnant water. And in order to get the body healed, you have to get the body moving. You have to get blood flow and lymphatic flow moving. And that is a staple of everything. Peptides will work better. Parasites will be killed and leave the body better. You don't want their dead body parts just getting stuck in the organs that you're killing them in, like liver flukes is one of the number one reasons why people will have fatty liver disease and all kinds of issues with heavy toxic load in the body. So you've got to make sure drainage is working for everything to work better. That you can't have a healthy fish tank with a stagnant pool of water that looks like a pond with a whole bunch of, it's not clear water. There's mosquitoes at the top. There's bugs everywhere. Fish are dying and floating to the top. So that's what most people's bodies look like. That's a visual that I think should really ring truth for all of you. And when a doctor says that you need to be put on something for, high blood pressure or high cholesterol, this is your body's way of saying, I'm not draining well, but your doctor's not going to tell you that. I'm the kind of doctor that will tell you what's really happening at the root of it. And a drug is not going to be the solution that's going to fix the root cause of it, right? So we want a clean fish tank, not a pond. But the majority of the population, if you have any disease today, is stagnant toxins, poisons, parasites. They're living in the body, and drainage is important. So the Warrior Cleanse is a powerful course. I've been teaching it for 15 years now. That's also 25% off. So use LF as in Light Friday 40 to get all courses. And that's available through Friday, December 5th. So get on it, you guys, if you haven't. And with the purchase of every course, you get 1 week included in the VIP group, which is where I go live after my podcast to support everybody in the group. We have typically over 300 members in there at all times. And this is the place where you can ask me anything. I have lots of friends, longtime friends, 15 years ago friends, reaching out to me saying, hey, I just need your help with this one simple question. And I just can't support everybody the way that I used to before we got really big during COVID. And so this is for all of you who are like, hey, I just have one simple question for you. I have to have healthy boundaries by saying I'm spread very thin, trying to help a lot of sick people with even one little question. It just takes a lot of my time. And I think it's a really great place for you guys to be, to get your questions answered. It could also save you that, like, send tens of thousands of dollars on not making one mistake that you have a blind spot on. So I'm doing this for a long time. I hope to see you guys in the VIP group. And if anything, just get one of the courses and just see how it is for your first time. So if you buy a course now, you'll get 7 days access to the VIP group, and you can join us right after this and literally ask me anything. And we can have a 5-minute conversation because oftentimes one text message or one email that's sent to me leads into, back and forth questions that I cannot support in just one small conversation. So yeah, thank you, Paula. She's showing you where you could see all the courses. You just click on programs and you'll see all of them there. I also have the explant solution. One of my friends that I was just recently on a trip with, she actually found out that she had a heart issue. And it's not really a heart issue. I told her too. The doctor recommended that she go get a stent in her heart. And I went, no, 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 no. You have a lot of clotting factors, and you have blood flow issues and thick blood. It's probably because you have breast implants. And I said, in order to prevent you from going on a statin and from for being, in your early 50s and having a stent put in, I recommend that you consider taking some blood vessel bioregulators. That's one really powerful thing that you could do. That's a really easy fix for most people, is just to take a bioregulator, take blood vessel bioregulator. And that's where to get that. DianeKaiser.com/shop. You'll see, actually go to DianeKaiser.com/peptides. And you will see 3 different peptide companies and bioregulator companies that I promote. One of them is Promethean. And you can get the bioregulator called blood vessel. So that's what she did. She actually got the nootropic stack, where she can also support the rest of her body as well with a central nervous system and pineal support, which the brain is connected to the whole body. So these are the conversations I have with people all the time. And I always like to share with you guys because I can't talk to 1,000 people at one time. So I'm hoping that this podcast is really going to cover a lot of ground for many of you on a lot of things. So Paula is showing on the side what that looks like. And as well, the nootropic stack, I think that's the one that she got, which has the pineal and central nervous system bioregulator as well. And it's 2 months worth. And you just take 2 capsules a day for a month. And then that's it. It's really, really, really simple. So Paula, if you could find that stack and show them when you get a minute, just, you can remove that. Just when you find the stack, that'd be great. And then they can see that it's all 3 bioregulators in one. That is actually what I've been telling a lot of people lately, that peptides are amazing. Many people are doing injections, they're taking capsules, they're doing intranasals, but it's really important to have the foundations laid first. And for so many people today who are not doing the foundations, starting just on injections is a bit harsh for the body. So this nootropic maintenance plan, if you could zoom in a little bit on that, Paula, I can't see it, but I think that they might be able to. Blood vessel, pineal, and central nervous system. This is a really, really good deal. It's only $155 when you buy it as a bundle. And then you use my coupon code as well, Chi Ministry, and you'll get 10% off more. So that's a whole month worth of bioregulators. And after that, then, you could do another stack of that. Or if you want more support on specifics, then you can come in the VIP group and I'd be happy to help you. If not, become a patient, because we can get a lot more granular and specific based on your health history, based on labs, based on the symptoms that you're experiencing. And this particular patient, my friend, her case, I was able to identify the reason why you had blood flow issues is because you have breast implants, and breast implants are really, really, they're a huge threat to blood flow, but especially lymphatic drainage. And so lymphatic drainage, that's 75% of our fluid, you guys, your lymph. And I'm going to be talking about that today. And then the other 25% is blood. So why does mainstream medicine only test blood? Why don't they look at the lymph? They get like 1 hour of training on the whole lymph system in school. That is one of the most important systems to flow poisons, parasites, pathogens out of the body, and then also viruses, because a lot of people will say, oh, I'm struggling with Epstein-Barr. Oh, I got this, bacterial vaginosis. Oh, that is all rooted back to the body not flowing well and retroviruses getting sticky and stuck in all of the different liquid systems in the body, but especially the lymph. So I talk about all of that in the Warrior Cleanse course, which teaches you how to live the foundations of your pyramid. And then what we're going to talk about today is peptides, on how to build on top of that with specific goals that everybody has. So let's get into it. I'm going to talk first about my daily beauty peptides, which also build your immunity, energy, and recovery on the inside. So that's what's really cool about these stacks that I talk about, is that I don't create protocols like, okay, we're going to build beauty and then leave out the rest of the body. Your beauty on the outside is predicated on your immunity and your health on the inside, right? So the vitality on the inside dictates the beauty on the outside. So you will glow when your body is in flow. So I've been talking about flow, blood flow, lymph flow for the last 10 minutes. And so it's really important to get that. And I'm going to talk about a specific beauty procedure that I had recently, to fix the damage that Botox caused about 10 years ago. And then the exact routine I've been using to heal it faster. You can see that my mouth looks a little bit like I almost had a vaccine on my face, but it's just that right now I still have healing happening in these areas that collagen was stimulated based on the red light therapy treatment that I did. So that was about 3 weeks ago. So I'm gonna talk about that too, because I've been getting a lot of questions on how is it? How do you feel that it went? What are you doing to heal from it? I'll talk about that. It's a non-invasive. Instead of doing a facelift, I did what's called an endo lift. Here in Mexico, it's only $900. If you do it in America, it's over 3,000. So I did it with a really great surgeon. He's been doing it for a long time. I trust him. People are going to ask who it was. I can link that in the show notes below. Also, my top favorite saunas. It's still Cyber Monday week, so some of these companies are having sales. We'll get to that in a little bit when I get to the section. How and why I use them regularly, and we recommend them to all patients. So some of these companies, you could use the coupon code that they have going on this week for Cyber Monday if they've extended it, and you could try my coupon code in addition to that. So everything I'm going to be talking about today is on either dianekaiser.com/peptides or dianekaiser.com/shop. You're going to see all of the tools, because we talk about hundreds of different things that contribute to the healthy ecosystem that is you. You're like an ocean, right? And so we're talking about how to make all these systems flow the best together, and in which order. I'm also going to talk about the 3 staple supplements that I believe everybody needs and why. I swear there's a tag on my shirt and it's just itching me. So I'm sorry, you guys. I keep itching like I've done some heroin or something. There's a tag back here. Anyway, I might have to keep itching that. But I'm going to talk about the 3 staple supplements I believe that we all need, because our food is so depleted in nutrients today and so rich in toxins. And so it's really causing your body malnourishment, a lot of issues with deficiencies in minerals, magnesium, B complex, etc. And then I'm going to talk about why you should not just start your peptide journey and your weight loss journey with GLPs to lose weight. I have talked about this in a lot of other episodes, but I'm going to talk about what to do instead before that, and when to incorporate GLPs if you are going to, for maximum fat loss and health outcomes. And the thing I also see, just I want to make sure I talk about this, because many people are not. What I'm seeing right now, and I knew we would get to this point when I first got into the peptide space, is that these things I call miracle molecules. They work so well, they work so quickly that the FDA is going to want to take them away from us, number one. And number two, every influencer and everybody on social media and everybody's going to jump on them and claim that they're an expert and give you their affiliate code and tell you that you should use your coupon code and that they know what they're doing. Or you're going to see people say, I lost 15 pounds in 1 month using this one peptide. Comment below and I'll send you exactly what to do. We're at that point now, and they're starting to censor people. They're starting to remove people's accounts who talk about peptides. I knew this day would come, but here's the problem. There's companies, there's one called LEMD. I'm not going to throw them under the bus because I like what they're doing. But the problem is that this specific company, what I'm seeing a lot of influencers recommend people go to take a look at, is they are definitely focusing on starting with GLPs. They're talking about semaglutide, which is Ozempic, and tirzepatide, which is specifically a Mounjaro or other ones. They're talking about 2 GLPs. They're not really talking as much about retatrutide. And then they do have some other things like B complex. They do have some beauty products, and they do have some other things as well as an option there, but they're limited to about 5 different peptides. And it's still done through a compound pharmacy. It's still coming from the FDA. It still comes with the same risks that the FDA has always overseen. So for me, anytime I see it's FDA approved, or if it's, I don't think that stamp of approval is healthy. So you may not agree with me on that. You're going to do your own thing. But for me personally, and a lot of people that come to me for advice and come to the Chi Ministry for support, they're like, I'm done trusting the FDA and the CDC. I like, yeah, I want it if it's not FDA approved, because FDA approval typically means, we're here to make you sick. We're here not to treat the root cause. And so if you are somebody who wants a quick fix and to not look at the root cause and to actually probably get worse, maybe you get better for a few months before things get worse. Maybe, but that's how it is. That's how it is with them. So I pretty much divorced myself from the majority of FDA offerings. And if that's you, then listen up, because this episode is for you. But tirzepatide, specifically, I've had many patients come to me and they've said, I cannot believe how much better I felt on retatrutide. And after I've done some of the foundations that you taught me that I'm going to talk about in this show, when I did tirzepatide, and I'm just quoting many people in my personal life, my friends, my family, they're like, tirzepatide, I felt like crap. My stomach hurt. I didn't want food at all. I actually, not just my food cravings were blunted, but even my emotions were blunted. I didn't feel like myself. And it felt like my food was just sitting and rotting. But I started taking retatrutide and doing some of the other things that you're going to hear me talk about in the show, like drainage support, and also making sure your mitochondria is on point and you're eating as healthy as possible and exercising and all of that. They said it was a breeze. It was easy to lose 10 pounds in the first month. I didn't lose much weight on tirzepatide. And it's not just about weight, you guys. It should be more about feeling better so that your body actually loses weight because it does feel better and it has the tools that it needs. So why I'm bringing this up is because so many people are going to companies like LEMD. Again, there's nothing wrong with them. I'm just saying that to me, it is not a good starting point, because it is just tirzepatide, it's just semaglutide, and they don't talk about the foundations or the things that you should be doing in addition to GLPs like we do here, and talk about detox and parasite cleansing and also mitochondrial support. So I think people should be doing something. And if the LEMD is something that they're going to do, great. But a lot of influencers are pushing it mainly because they're getting up to 40% commissions on every referral, not because it is a prudent thing and holistic way to treat your body holistically, your whole body, right? So anyway, I wanted to just put that out there because that's going to be a huge talking point for me today and all these slides. Okay. Let's get into the slideshow, because I do have some great slides prepared for you guys today. And I'm going to cover a lot of ground. So some of you always say, you talk so fast, but I have so many people that reach out to me that this is always my commitment to supporting you guys, that I say, listen to my podcast. I'll help you on that show, because I get hundreds of texts and emails on a monthly basis, and I just can't get to everybody. A lot of you DM me and I don't even look at them. I have a social media team who does. So I want to be as personable as possible. And these shows are free. So I really hope that I'm at least supporting you guys here, because there's a lot going on in the field right now. A lot of people are very sick. A lot of people are dying, including my uncle. He passed away this Sunday, and I will talk about that at the end of the show. So, okay, I'm going to get into the slideshow now, and then make sure that you guys stay till the end, because there is a lot of ground to cover, like I mentioned. Okay, so here we go. Let's make sure you guys can see my screen. Can you see my screen, Paula? Yep. Okay, cool. All right. This one is called The Best of My Daily Peptide and Supplement Stack: Fat Loss, Body Sculpting, and Beauty I'll Never Go Without, as I mentioned earlier. So let's just dive right in. I put a pretty good bumper on what we're going to talk about. So my daily beauty peptide non-negotiables, these are the ones that I always keep on hand. And if I stop them, if I go out of town like I just did this past week, I can feel it in my skin, my mood, my hormones, energy, and recovery. I feel like I'm a lot more puffy, inflamed, and in pain. Like the reason why I have a couple pimples right now is because I ate gluten and wasn't aware when I went out to eat, and the waiter said it was gluten-free, but it wasn't. And then I ended up with 2 big zits the next day. So that's the reason a lot of people don't realize that skin is something, skin inflammation, skin infections is not something that you can treat on the outside. It must be fixed on the inside. And things like the GHKCU, as well as what I'm going to talk about, KPV, calms down inflammation. For me, if I eat gluten, and not specifically gluten, because it's okay if it comes from Italy most of the time for me, but if it's something that comes from America, it typically will always have atrazine and glyphosate, or one of the 7 things that they have formulated recently, because glyphosate got into trouble and they had a $2 billion lawsuit, and they replaced Roundup with 7 other worse offenders in the herbicide space. So the body doesn't react to gluten, it reacts to the poison attached to it. So when you get gluten, it could feel like your whole body goes into fibromyalgia. That's what it feels like for me. And then I get skin infections and skin inflammation. The reason I even took Accutane years ago was because I was eating gluten and dairy and my body didn't know better. My doctor didn't care, put me on Accutane twice, basically pancreatic chemo. And my body has been really, really struggling since UTIs and it because Accutane destroys all of your tissues, especially the mucosa, including the lining of your vagina, your uterus, your colon. And so for me, I'm very prone to UTIs because what Accutane does, it dehydrates you, it disrupts your flora, it basically takes all of your defenses down, and your immune system is out to lunch, eating more gluten. So just another warning for you guys as to why I don't trust the FDA, because I've been poisoned by the solutions that they've given me more times than I can even count. So I'm not just here to talk dogma. I'm not just here to warn you guys. I'm here to give you solutions. So here are the favorite ones I have for beauty, but also GHKCU and these other peptides I'm going to talk about today are good for other things too. Like GHKCU is Mother Nature's sunscreen if you're using it on a regular basis on the inside. Also, if you really have issues with your connective tissues, like your joints are cracking, you tendon issues, muscle pain, or if you're recovering from a surgery or going into one, GHKCU is so powerful. It's otherwise known as copper peptides. And so you don't want to buy from cheap companies either, because a lot of the influencers now, and they've been talking about this now, this has gone viral. A lot of people on TikTok are talking about peptides, and they're talking about their affiliate link, and they're sending people there, and they're half the price of what you would find on Limitless, which is who I recommend. But you're not getting peptides. You're just getting like saline water or just deionized water or bacteriostatic water or something else. This is very, very common. So I highly suggest you don't look for cheap. You look for long tested and true. And Limitless is my preferred source for that. And we have coupon codes as well. I think they still have sales for this week, right? Is that right, Paula? Maybe you could fly it on the bottom if that's the case. But they had a huge Light Friday special and Cyber Monday special on a lot of peptides. And then if you use Chi Ministry, you'll get 15% off in addition to that. So I don't recommend any other companies other than Limitless, and then BioLongevity with Jay Campbell. It's a good backup company. They do have great sales, but their retail price is much higher than Limitless. So you can always shop the difference between the two. DianeCase.com/peptides is where you can go and you can shop them there. Sometimes there's inventory issues with Limitless or BioLongevity Labs, and you could just go to one company or the other one to buy whichever one is in stock, because KPV, which I'll get into in a minute, was out of stock with Limitless for like 3 months. And I believe there was an issue with a lot of other companies for stocking as well and sourcing, because you want clean peptides, you guys. Not just that, but I just had a personal friend who her dad was going to become a patient, and he was going to come do stem cell therapy with us because he had a lot of issues with his brain. And she ended up opting to work with another doctor to do stem cell. And I highly cautioned against it because he was a doctor. And I'm obviously segueing away from the slideshow for a minute, but I don't want to forget this, they went and got stem cell from this guy. I'm not going to say who, but I cautioned her because I was like, well, if somebody's offering stem cell at that big of a discount, you're probably not going to get good sourcing. They might be new at administering stem cell. You want somebody who's experienced in this. You don't want to mess with anything that's coming through a needle into your body unless you really know the person, the company, the doctor, the team that's supporting you, and that they're experienced. They have certifications in this work. They use it themselves, and they really know where they're getting, like, let's say, for example, stem cells. So long story short, they opted to work with a cheaper doctor, and he went into severe anaphylactic shock, had to go to the hospital, and almost died. So I'm not saying that to scare you. I'm saying that to aware you that you don't want to mess around with sourcing. And this is why I'm always so adamant about making sure that you get quality over quantity. They were also excited because it was so much cheaper, but cheaper landed him in the hospital and almost killed him. So don't mess around with people that you don't know, or you can't get a referral from, who have done specific treatments like stem cell or peptides like this. So I am a very experienced practitioner with peptides and stem cell therapy, and I work with a team up in Tijuana. So if you ever want to visit us, just email support@DianeCase.com and we'll make that happen. I think I'll be back up there in January again. I did just make a trip to Tijuana last week. I got 40 million stem cells. I always do that when I have a procedure I want my body to accelerate healing from, as well as I did IVs. We do DMSO, vitamin C, really high dose vitamin C, 25 grams every day. Also glutathione, complete minerals, complete multivitamins, B complex, as well as many other things. So anyway, this is really, really key for healing. If you can't do stem cells, you can take peptides like GHKCU and the ones I'm just about to talk about, which actually support and stimulate your body to make their own stem cells or its own stem cells. So that's another reason why I love GHKCU. I use this one on a regular basis. It's one that I will never be without. I always stock up on it just in case. You could use it topically, you could use it internally, but specifically, I like it for injectable because it's much more effective that way. We also do with Limitless, who I just found out that the sales have ended, but you could still use Chi Ministry for your coupon code to get 50% off. But that's what it looks like right there. Yeah, we have GHKCU capsules. We also have intranasals. We have an injection form. You can see all three there. Just remember that if you're using injections, it is going to be more bioavailable throughout your entire body as it's systemic. Versus if you're using it intranasal, it's going to be more isolated to the brain and the tissues around it. And then capsules are going to be more so for the gut. So if you're taking capsules, it's more so for intending to heal or treat the gut. Whereas if you're taking injections, it's for the whole body, and spray is more so for the brain. So kind of think about it like that. Much more available if you guys are willing to use needles. All right, let's go into the next slide because I want to make sure I cover this. GHQ is just one of my favorites. You're going to see a lot of GHK. You're going to see copper peptides and a as beauty products as an ingredient. These things need to stay in the refrigerator to stay pure and also to stay as long as possible. The potency is important. So even the ones that I'm using for hair, I have some certain hairsprays and facial products. I still put those in the fridge because you want GHKCU to stay fresh and potent. If you're getting a beauty product that just says copper peptides and you could leave it shelf stable, it's not going to be anywhere near as potent. So there's a difference between those. Okay. So GHKC, if you're injecting it, it's called the Collagen Glow Healing and Youth Reset Peptide. It increases collagen up to 70%. Firms, tightens, and brightens skin, reduces wrinkles, and improves texture, speeds healing from things like scars, lasers, threads, and endolift. So for me, it's been improving a lot. I notice a major difference when I don't take GHKCU and the wrinkles on my face. People can always see I look younger, I'm glowing more, and it's not just from the endolift. It's because I'm using copper peptides on a regular basis. And it also enhances hair density and color retention. So a lot of people think, oh, I'm getting old, I get gray. No, that's not what it is. Is that you guys are also nutrient deplete, and copper peptides can help prevent early hair graying as well as balding. As far as also the scars, I used to have some severe scarring from Accutane, and copper peptides have helped that significantly. Like if you feel your face and you kind of feel these like scars from acne or anything, it's going to lighten that. It's going to break down that tissue so that you have a much smoother skin texture, and it might not be as painful as well because scarring is very tight. It can pull you on your body. It doesn't feel good to move when something has scar tissue, right? But above all, it restores youth gene expression in aging cells. And so that is at the cellular level, at the genetic level, GHKCU is powerful. And like I said earlier, it could significantly prevent you from getting sunburns. And I can't even tell you guys right now, this is so funny. I'm glad I'm remembering this. The number one gift that people have given me in the last like 3 months or so, people get real excited. They're like, oh, I have something for you. Either it's friends or colleagues. And I'm like, oh, great. Do you want to guess what it is and what I'm against? Paula, maybe you could guess. But I have like 5 of them, and they're in my pantry, but I don't think I'll use them in my closet pantry. But let's see if Paul no, not scented candles. No, I would never use those. Those are significant endocrine disruptors. No, 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 no. Sunscreen. They've given me sunscreen, and they're all excited. And I'm like, no, I don't use sunscreen. I will never use sunscreen. I used to use sunscreen, and it actually causes cancer. So when I go scuba diving, like I did last weekend, I didn't wear any sunscreen. Granted, if you're in the sun for a long period of time, maybe, but I never use sunscreen. And you shouldn't need to if you're using peptides like GHKCU properly and on a regular basis, as well as avoiding seed oils. That is the number one thing that's going to cause skin cancer when you're exposed to the sun. as well as gluten and a lot of these inflammatory foods that I teach you to replace with healthier versions of and foods that you will actually enjoy. That's what I do in the Warrior Cleanse. So yeah, no, I don't use sunscreen. Nope, no, thank you. But that's for a whole nother conversation. All right. And now there's studies that will prove that GHKC reverses aging and gene patterns, boosts collagen and elastin dramatically in the Journal of Aging Science, and accelerates wound healing from wound repair and regeneration. All right. Now let's go into the other ones. I don't know why I just lost my screen here. Just a second. I'll go right back to it. Oh, actually, where did it go, Paula? I'm on the next screen. Can you see it? All right. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So BP7 157, you guys have heard of this peptide. I've talked about it a lot. It's usually the gateway peptide that so many people start with. It's for whole body repair, gut healing, inflammation, erasing. It regenerates the gut. I used to have leaky gut. We confirm that, as we do with all patients, with something called high zonulin that's codes for, inflammation in the gut. We're also looking at secretory IgA. We're looking at how well the body responds to or not gluten. If you have high levels, or I'm sorry, that's anti-gliadin. But secretory IgA is your gold standard for how well is your immune system functioning in the gut based on a lot of factors. So we look at those three main things, as well as other things too, like imbalances in certain gut flora, et cetera. But I had a very low functioning immune system when I had my breast implants. I was at 33. And the gold standard, the goal would be between 1200 and 1500. And I was at 33. My immune system was literally operating at about 4%. So that's when I knew, get your breast implants out. And then also after I got them out and I prepared my body with what I teach in the explant solution course that we have, that you guys can buy if you're thinking about getting your breast implants out. And you should definitely prepare your body for 3 months before you do an explant. Highly recommend that. I talk about it in what I did exactly in my explant solution course, as well as my book. But it's key that you get your immune system functioning well, because it's a lot of work it's a lot of work for the body to, sorry, I lost my train of thought. I got a phone call. It's a lot of work for the body and the immune system to repair the damage that breast implants cause. So you want your immune system strong, you want and as much inflammation gone as possible. And this is where BPC does come in, as well as some other peptides that are good for beauty and immunity. So like I mentioned earlier, these are peptides for beauty, but they're also peptides for everything. So while you're building your beauty, you're also directly improving skin and hormones, because BPC repairs the gut as well as the whole body. And it calms redness, irritation, and breakout. So those of you who have like rosacea or irritable bowel syndrome or acne anywhere around the body, or you feel like you're getting sunburn all the time, BPC is really powerful for a lot of these things. It reduces systemic inflammation. So those of you who always talk about, oh, I've got cellulite, cellulite's inflammation, and it's pulling on the lymphatic tissue where it's connecting to the muscles. So sure, you can, dry brush, and sure, you can stand on a vibrating plate, but peptides is where you're going to improve a lot of this stuff, because it's reducing systemic inflammation. It also restores microvascular blood flow. It protects the liver and the gut from toxins. So those of you, a third of the population now has fatty liver disease. So cleansing the gut from parasites is important, and addressing the liver, yes, that's very important, and limiting your alcohol. But BPC is like an accelerator to help protect your liver from the toxins and the bugs that have been causing inflammation and eating away at the tissue in the liver for a long time. And there's studies that you guys can take a look at down here. I call them WOW studies, because you can see these studies will show that BPC heals the entire gut-brain axis. That's huge. A conversation I had last week was like, oh, I've had irritable bowel syndrome my whole life. And I'm like, well, you don't have to, unless you want to keep your, disease. That's fine if you identify with it. If you're someone who's out there saying, oh, my irritable bowel, or my fibromyalgia, or my whatever, you're owning your disease. And therefore, you're not going to be on a mission, at least consciously, to get rid of it. Subconsciously, you're saying, no, I identify with this. There's nothing I can do to get rid of it. So BPC can really help with that, to heal the entire gut-brain axis. And it repairs tendons and ligaments faster than any peptide. It accelerates soft tissue healing. So these are beauty peptides, but they're all body peptides as well. All right, thymosin alpha, TB500, which is thymosin beta 4. It's a powerful regeneration, lymph flow, elasticity, and post-procedure recovery. I also like it pre-recovery. I also recommend that with BPC, those two combined, which is called the Wolverine stack, for anybody who has an injury of, I can't lift my shoulder, my hip is hurting me, my knees is causing problems, my doctor said I need to get surgery. I'm like, try BPC and TB500 first. try that and inject it in the fat pocket area around the injury or the area of inflammation, wherever you're finding that it's just bothering you and you can't do your normal athletic things, or you can't dance, or it's just annoying. You can't walk and you just don't feel good, right? Or you're in pain when you're just sitting there. So try this out. But TB500 is powerful for not just pain or injury recovery. It also improves skin elasticity, firmness, and healing. It promotes angiogenesis, which is new blood vessels. And thank you for Paula for showing this. We have TB500. That is what you want to buy, that little vial there, for injection purposes. If you want to bypass the injection and do intranasal instead, you can. Just remember, like I mentioned, it's much less bioavailable. So you're going to pay more for less bioavailability in the body. So you can do that if you want to, which is, you could see it right there. BPC 157 and TB500 frag in a blend spray. Those sprays all come with their own kit. They're going to come with deionized water, as well as a reconstitution needle, as well as that little vial there, which is the intranasal bottle. And then it's going to also come with the vial of the peptides themselves. I talk about how to do all of this in my peptide power course, you guys. I also have what's called Peptides for Dummies 101, and it's on the dianecage.com/peptides page. If you just want to document, and it tells you what to do. If you want to see me doing these things in videos and instructionals, follow along, I'll get the peptide power course so you guys can see all of the different options for you. One is $17 and the other one is like $297. So, and again, like I said, we have 25% off all courses until, or no, is it 40%? Yeah, it's 40% off of all courses until the end of the week. So I would grab the DIY Peptides Master Course. Grab it now. It's on a huge sale and we just launched it. So people don't ever do this when they first launch a course, but I am. I want you guys to have the information that you deserve. The Peptides 101 for Dummies is awesome. It's got like 3 guides in it. I'm about to add a 4th one on bioregulators, but exactly how much to take for how long, how much bacteriostatic water to add to your peptide vial, and what to combine it with, what to consider. And it also has a document of how to prepare everything. And it has peptides encyclopedia. What peptide do I use for what? So anyway, those 2 are options for you guys. And then you could always get the protocol dosage guideline for free, which is sitting right there. Best place I'd recommend is just get into the VIP group, and then I can help you as well as you guys can get these resources too. But just remember, and I'm going to come back to the slides now, because TB500 promotes angiogenesis, AKA new blood vessels. We have to be very cautious about this, and a lot of people pushing peptides are not. If you have cancer, any kind of precursors of cancer, we look at tumor markers in our patients to make sure that before we recommend things like TB500 or BPC or human growth hormone secretagogues, that somebody who might have some pretty significant disease or symptoms, we want to make sure that there are no tumor markers, because angiogenesis and these peptides that promote it can actually promote blood vessel formation that flows blood flow to the tumors. So we don't want to do that. There's a lot of people that will say, don't worry about it. But when we work with patients, it's you're better safe than sorry, especially with the amount of cancer we're seeing, the incidences of diagnoses, and people just not having a clue. And then if you did take a peptide, did get cancer, then you might be like, or the doctor might say, oh, you took this peptide and it's bad for you and it caused the cancer. And then there might be a lawsuit on somebody's hand who's a coach or a practitioner or a doctor. So we're always very cautious. And I always want to make sure I'm mindful about this when I talk to you guys on podcasts. We do see tumor markers in so far about 5% of our patients. And so we're going to work on with bioregulators. We're going to stabilize the body first. We're going to get rid of the root causes of why somebody has tumor markers, which does not mean they have cancer. It means that they have precursors for it. So it's nothing to be alarmed by, but we don't want to fuel the wrong thing, right? We don't want to set fire to do the wrong thing, because it's going to spread like wildfire. What I also love about TB500 is it enhances lymphatic flow, which means more recovery from procedures like I did, the endolift, but also because not just from a procedure, not just a beauty procedure, is that the majority of the population is inflamed, overweight, and obese because their lymphatic flow is stagnant, like the pool of water I was mentioning earlier. You're a pond. You want to be an ocean. Most people are a pond. So TB500 is really powerful for lymphatic flow, and it reduces scar tissue. It strengthens hair follicles. So when you're looking for, hair loss ideas outside of just taking, the medications that you're told, that the moment you get off of a lot of these medications, your hair is going to be even more thin. It's the same thing with rebound weight gain. When people get off of Ozempic, if they're not supporting the body holistically around it, they gain even more weight than they had before they took Ozempic. So before you go take a lot of these hair growth prescriptions like minoxidil, I highly recommend you try peptides first and do it alongside a healthy lifestyle, which I teach in the Warrior Cleanse. So there's some studies there for you guys. Wound healing improved 30 to 50%. I mean, crazy. There's lots of studies that are behind this. Okay, this is what's happening. I keep doing this. I'm clicking the wrong button. All right, let's go to the next slide, which the next slide is another one, CJC epimorelin. This is one that also improves and stimulates angiogenesis. So you don't want to take human growth hormone secretagogues if you have tumor markers. But you could always ask your doctor to run tumor markers, but most doctors won't. This is why we work with patients and we do advanced blood testing, and we look for 85% more markers at the root cause level than your standard MD would. But anyway, a lot of people are taking this without looking at those things, and that's fine. If you feel like you're a pretty healthy person and you don't have, something that could appear like cancer, then CJC epimorelin is a very powerful human growth hormone secretagogue. I rotate that with tesamorelin. 8 weeks on, 8 weeks on one, 8 weeks on the next one. Or you could just do CJC or just epimorelin and rotate them every 8 weeks. I talk about that in my Peptide Power protocol dosage guidelines. But it's not just for human growth hormone secreting. It's not just for building muscle and for preserving your muscles while you're on a GLP. It's not just to feel better. It's not just to have more energy. It's really for sleep. It's for beauty. It's your metabolism and your recovery. Most people are not making their own human growth hormone secretagogues at a healthy level. 95% of human growth hormone is released by the brain while we sleep, but most people are not sleeping well. They're not resting well. They might be sleeping for 8 hours, but they're not resting for 8 hours. They're not getting deep REM sleep. So it's a very powerful peptide that increases natural growth hormone 2 to 10 times than if you didn't take the peptide based on what your body would make on its own. It improves deep sleep. Like I just talked about, 90% of repair of your whole body happens here. You need deep sleep, and this is how to induce that. And then for the beauty perspective, it tightens and lifts the face naturally. It speeds muscle recovery and fat metabolism, and it improves collagen and bone density, supports mood and cognitive health. I mean, how much better can it get than all that lineup of all these amazing peptide features, right? So there's the studies that below that you can see it. Growth hormone increase with zero cortisol prolactin elevation, which is powerful because it means you won't get more stressed out. And also growth hormone improves slow wave deep sleep, which it leads to major anti-aging effects. Kisspeptin is another one that I love for beauty. It's not just for hormone repair. It's really good for emotional beauty, and it regulates the entire reproductive and hormone chain. It enhances cycles, glow, libido, and mood. I can speak to that myself personally. And it helps perimenopause swings, or if you're in the transition to menopause, it helps significantly. And I was in that state these last couple of years. I really haven't had mood swings. It's crazy because of things like kisspeptin. It improves fertility-related hormonal output. So every patient that we have that comes to us and says, I want to get pregnant, we're looking at kisspeptin, and not just for the ladies, but for the men too. It improves fertility-related, I already said that. It gives skin a healthy, plump, radiant look because it does work with your hormonal rhythm. So Paula, I think, was just trying to show that kisspeptin is an injection. There is no intranasal or capsule available with this. So the studies you can keep looking at are the ones that I have down here at the bottom. It improves emotional bonding and limbic regulation. It regulates sex hormones with fewer side effects. It supports fertility and hormone balance. So there's what it looks like when you buy that vial. Make sure that you are also buying the bacteriostatic water in addition to that. And then when you get your shipment from Limitless, it will give you exact instructions on how, which type of, and if you're getting specific peptides that will require certain types of bacteriostatic water, they will make sure that you know that when you're placing the order, and you'll get those in the order itself. But I always recommend what people who are doing peptides buy like a 10 milliliter or 30 milliliter bottle of bacteriostatic water, because you'll eventually need it, even if you're not using them for specific peptides that require specific bacteriostatic water like kisspeptin does. So if that doesn't make sense, when you place the order, Limitless will send you the proper bacteriostatic water. And my peptide protocol dosage guidelines and more, the one that's free on my peptides landing page we just showed you a little bit ago, tell you exactly how much of that water to add to the vial, how much to pull your needle to, what time of day, for how long, etc. So I know this could be a little complicated, especially if it's your first time hearing these things. So I want to make sure that you understand that's what peptides are all about. Okay, I'm going to move into EndoLift. So I covered a lot of ground with that last one because I really wanted to get into it with beauty. EndoLift recovery, what I'm using right now, what I have been using. These are the healing tools I'm using post EndoLift to reverse Botox damage and accelerate regeneration. I'm using GHKCU, TB500, BPC 157, and then CJC IPA as well as KPV. Now, KPV, like I said, was out of stock for 3 months. And if you're somebody that struggles with histamine flares, or if you have severe allergic reactions, anaphylactic shock, if you're somebody who gets inflamed when you eat certain foods that are trigger foods for you, if you have allergies like peanuts or anything like that, like children even, if you're somebody who has mold, definitely, and you have a lot of mold reactions, we work with a lot of people who have the chronic inflammatory response syndrome, mold activation. This is a lot what's happening with people who have mold in their body and they don't even know it. And again, I'll tell you, every patient that we test has mold mycotoxins in their body. What that means, and especially if you have parasites, because mold does live in parasites and it hides there, you're going to be somebody who has high histamine flares, and you're going to think that it's just, you're going to cause it's caused by the mold. Well, yeah, it is caused by the mold, but in order to calm that down so that you don't suffer and struggle in the process of discovering where it's coming from in your home, or maybe in your environment, or in the time of year, or also the food that you're eating, you could take KPV. KPV is a powerful beauty peptide. I call it that too, because it reduces redness, swelling, and histamine, which causes a lot of these flares, and it makes your skin have skin infections and skin inflammation. It calms mast cells, which a lot of people who we work with have mast cell activation syndrome, and they react to like what feels like everything. If you want your body to be a bit more resilient, when you walk into a store and you can smell all the disgusting, candles, or all the scented products, or the things like your clothing that you're using detergent in, or the Glade plugins, the perfumes. If you feel like you're super sensitive to a lot of these things, KPV is very, very powerful for this very purpose. You can get KPV also in capsule form. You can get it in an intranasal, but I definitely prefer to inject it, and I can feel a major difference, and I can see a major difference on my skin. And because I'm using it, I'm using a little bit more with each of these. I'm using kind of like, I would say in many cases, I'm using double of some of these things. Normally I pull my needle to 5. I take 5 units of copper, GHKCU, but I'm pulling it to 10. Normally at BPC, I pull the needle to 5. I take 5 units. I'm pulling it to 10. CJC IPA, I always take 10, so I'm still using just that. TB500, I normally pull the needle to 20 units, but I'm using a little bit more. And then KPV, I'm definitely doubling that as well. And so I'm taking about 10 a day. And I've been doing that so that my skin can heal better, faster. And I'm getting rid of a lot of the scar tissue underneath, because when they do the procedure called the endolift, which is a non-invasive facelift, it just basically is red lights underneath your skin that stimulates collagen. And it feels like there's kind of scars underneath your skin for about 3 months. So in order to break down those tissues, that's what I'm using this stack for. But even if you didn't get an endolift, these are the peptides that I would never be without for beauty, for immunity, for vitality, for resiliency, and for energy. So the WOW study that you guys can look up yourself if you'd like to, because never just take it from me, is KPV reduces inflammatory skin responses up to 70%, found the Journal of Investigative Dermatology. Yet, some patients who, when they go to their doctor who's working with us, they go to their MD, and they're like, "Oh, you're taking this prescription peptide, and it's the reason why you had a problem with such and such, and you're here for symptoms." And I'm like, no, that's not correct. So your MD is not going to have a clue what you're talking about if you go and ask for these things. All of these things are available, like Paula was just showing, on dianecase.com/peptides. Most of them are available in intranasal, capsule, or injection, but it's much better in injection form. And believe me, you are going to see your beauty completely radically change very quickly too. Tools I'm using daily is, if you can go to the dianecase.com/shop page, Paula, so we can show them. I've been using the higher dose red light mask on my face, which reduces swelling, stabilizes tissue, enhances collagen remodeling, helps symmetry settle faster, specifically for the procedure I did. But I've been using this mask for 2 years now. So even if you're not doing an endolift or something, surgically at a med spa, or with a surgeon, even if, it's not just a facelift or whatever, you can use this. I recommend you use this mask to induce collagen stimulation, and also just, better smoothens the skin. They were having a sale last week, but if not, still you could use the code that's on my shop page for a discount. And then sauna therapy. All right, sauna therapy is so powerful. I'm going to get to the slide next as to why sauna therapy is so important. But there's 3 different saunas that I recommend, and it just depends on what fits in your home and what your budget is, and what you'd like to prioritize. So the Sauna Space sauna It's supposed to say sauna space. I don't know what that says, space sauna. It's supposed to say sauna space. I actually use that one. I don't have the canopy, but I have the bulbs and the chair in the bathroom downstairs. I converted from a shower into a sauna. So it's great. It helps you sweat a lot. The bulbs in there are much stronger than they used to be 10 years ago when I first purchased the sauna. So that's going to run you about $2,000. The sunlight and sauna is a really good one. It's the queen of saunas. Don't waste your money at Costco, you guys, or Sam's Club. They're usually completely toxic and full of junk. Get sunlight and sauna, and there's a $500 coupon code on my page for that. They had a discount this past month, and sometimes during Christmas they do again. So make sure you're on my email list because we will be sending out my 12 days of Christmas for any more discounts. And if you want to learn more about any of those things on my shop page, you click on learn. I usually have done a podcast on it, so it should be very helpful for you guys to make an informed and empowered decision. And then lastly is the infrared sauna blanket. So that's the one, if you could scroll up there, Paula. Yep. And that's the one that Paula has. It's one a lot of people love it. And if you don't have a lot of space in your house, and if you just want to lay down and don't want to do the whole stand-up sauna thing or sit on a chair, you can get this one. It's really great. It's less than $1,000 and it does induce sweating. So sweating is the most important key here, you guys. You really do want it for lymphatic drainage, collagen activation, mitochondrial repair, inflammation reduction. And then lastly, and I'll get into the reason why I recommend saunas, is the vibration plate. The vibration plate, if you could show them what that looks like, Paula. I just got mine delivered to Mexico, which I'm super excited about. This is the same one I had when I was living in Sedona, but I haven't had it for a year and a half now. It boosts lymphatic flow and circulation. It enhances fascia release, and it's deep synergy with peptides for healing. So I've definitely been on my vibration plate game, so to speak, on a daily basis with my post endo lift recovery. And it does help to support the body to drain out and to also repair a lot of the adhesions that come from a surgery. It wasn't a surgery, but it's a procedure like that. But you can find all these, like I said, on that page: sauna, peptides, red light, vibration plate, next level anti-aging synergy. Lots of things there for you guys. And here's some crazy statistics. How often should I sauna and why? Look at these statistics. I'm not going to talk about every single one of them, but look at this slide and take a picture of it. If you do 2 to 3 sauna sessions per week, it increases your there's a 22% lower risk of sudden cardiac death. And look at how many people are dying right now. That's the number one cause of disease is heart disease. And many, many other things that we're talking about on a regular basis here too. 22% lower risk of developing dementia, 20% lower risk of developing Alzheimer's. I mean, we have a lot of people with Alzheimer's and brain fog and dementia these days. 4 to 7 times sauna sessions per week, 63%. So 3x is your risk of sudden cardiac death, which a lot of people who took the jab were seeing that. They're full of toxins, full of parasites, full of graphene oxide. So get your sauna game on now. I recommend every family, every person have a sauna and do it at least 3 times a week. And then there's a 40% less likely to die from all causes. That is a crazy high number just from a sauna, you guys. So these are statistics that I can't ignore. And then the other one for Alzheimer's, 65% lower risk of developing Alzheimer's, 66% lower risk of developing dementia. Pretty crazy when we see the staggering number of people who today are suffering from all of these conditions that I was talking about. So I'd recommend getting either one of those 3 saunas and getting on it on a daily basis. Body sculpting and fat loss stack. This is the number one I was going to talk about for GLPs. So instead of just starting with GLPs, you guys, I'm going to go through this pretty quickly. This is the foundational needle-free metabolism stack I always start with before GLPs. I don't start patients directly on GLPs because for most people, it's a bit aggressive. Sloop is called the exercise mimetic, and it activates the genes that are activated by exercise. So your body literally thinks it's exercising on the inside. It burns visceral fat, builds lean muscle, boosts mitochondria, which is ATP, and it's great for non-needle users. You just take 1 capsule a day, or if you want, you could take 2 capsules a day if you're over 250 pounds. But these studies are insane. I mean, in my studies, the mice lost up to 12% body weight, not fat, body weight in their first month. And your body also improves the cardiovascular output. So you have a lot more duration. You have a lot more stamina, and if you're exercising or not, if you're just walking up the stairs. So Sloop is powerful. Take that capsule every day, and then take a 5-amino 1MQ capsule. I also recommend something to support mitochondria. So this is my non-injection stack. 5-MeO-1-MQ reduces fat storage enzymes. It shrinks fat cells, restores metabolic rate, and improves muscle tone and energy. And because it blocks the fat storage enzyme, it reduced fat mass up to 40% in the study that they did with the Journal of Biological Chemistry. That's huge. I take this one on a regular basis. I feel like my body's more toned from it and definitely supports metabolism. And then the NAD intranasal, you could do it in injection form if you'd like to as well, but I'm just talking about for people who are needle phobes. And if rather than just starting straight on GLPs of any kind, tirzepatide, semaglutide, retatrutide, Ozempic, whatever, I recommend you start with these three things first. NAD plus the intranasal, it's NAD plus intranasal. It's an immediate mitochondrial boost. It reduces cravings and stabilizes dopamine, and it enhances detox focus and energy. It boosts NAD by restoring mitochondrial function, and it slows aging. So these three alone reboot energy, metabolism, and cravings, which is huge because that's the problem that most people are having. So the truth about GLPs, I've done several podcasts on this, but know this, the truth about it is that GLPs work, but most people use them wrong. They destroy muscle and metabolism when they're used too early. I always start with metabolic prep, like SLOOP, 1MQ, MOTS-C, and MOTS-C is an injection. So if you prefer to not use an injection first, you could do something like the NAD, like I talked about, intranasal. And then the human growth hormone secretagogues, provided you don't have any tumor markers. Love these human growth hormone secretagogues. I talked about all of these things for losing weight and for building your beauty and for getting rid of pain and improving sleep and your mood. I mean, it's truly a miracle, these things, while we're still able to use them. But people are getting their Facebook and social media accounts taken down because they're talking about peptides. So get them now before you can't, because doctors like me, you never know how long we can even do shows like this, because they're definitely censoring the hell out of everybody. And then after we do these things first, we add GLPs like retatrutide. And here's one real patient we worked with for 6 months. We got her whole body stabilized. And then when we started her on retatrutide, she lost 15 pounds in her first month safely because we layered it in correctly. So I highly recommend you go listen to my other podcast where I talked about GLP myths and how to do it right. The three supplements I think everybody needs, we're coming into the home stretch here. These are my daily staples. I never travel without them, and I recommend everybody be on them. So with Cellcore, we have one called TriMag. It's magnesium. The majority of the population is deficient in magnesium, dangerously deficient. It's a mineral. It's good for nervous system calming, mood, sleep, hormone stress, muscle recovery, and detox support. It's an essential nutrient for metabolism and cravings. I use it daily. And also, I'm going to talk about why these supplements are really important for peptides to work better. Now, here's 10 reasons to take magnesium daily. This is going to be on my social media account, so you guys can see the rest of the post there. But parasites deplete magnesium. Magnesium activates ATP. I mean, so does MOTS-C and so does NAD, like I talked about, SS31, those peptides, but so does magnesium. So let's not forget about the staples. When you take magnesium and you're able to generate ATP, then you don't need as much as the other peptides, which are far more expensive than a magnesium. Our food is super deplete in magnesium, and it's also needed to synthesize calcium. I see high tissue calcium in 80% of our patients, which means it slows down your metabolism. You're more overweight. You're more prone to clotting, to injury, to calcification, to exhaustion, to hormone dysregulation, sleep problems, mood deficiency. I can go on and on. Calcium slows everything down when it's stored in the body. Magnesium helps to pull it out because it does have a synergistic relationship, so it doesn't get stored in the body, as well as it synthesizes vitamin D and glutathione, your body's master antioxidant. So I'm not going to go super deep into this, but it's huge. It reduces damage caused by Wi-Fi, dirty electricity, and smart devices, which is a big problem for most people today. And it supports neurotransmitter function that controls emotions, attention, and social reaction, which means if you have a better level of magnesium in your body, you're going to have a lot less addictions. I'm going to talk about that next. You can get these supplements on dianecaser.com/supplements. And remember, we're having a sale. So Paula, if you could flash the sale price as she's flashing the core. We have this called I call these supplement staples. Core nutrients, methyl B, TriMag. Don't waste your money on supplements bought from Costco or health stores. These are ones that you could only get through a doctor or healthcare practitioner or provider. I made them very inexpensive so that you could buy them all at once. So the bundle is already discounted. And if you guys get them, then you can save even more based on the sale that we're having until the end of this week. So save 25% off. All right, next one is methylated B complex. Why B vitamins are so essential today. They power methylation, dopamine, and serotonin creation. stress resilience, immune coordination, energy production, estrogen detox pathways, liver phase 1 and 2 detox, blood sugar metabolism, hair, skin, nail, and collagen support, mood stability and anxiety support. Everybody needs to be on a B complex. The ones that we have is really powerful for hormone detox, methylation support, neurotransmitters, energy, mitochondria, stress, and adrenal support. These are also practitioner grade methylated B complex only supplements. And as well, in all of our supplements, we have fulvic and humic acid, which is really powerful for binding, as well as they contribute more minerals to the body. The one that we have through CellCore called our multivitamin is it also has trace minerals in it. It's called core nutrients. And the main reason why mineral deficiencies are massive today is because they're foundations for thyroid function, hormone creation, muscle contractions, detox enzymes. This is a lot of work the body has to do. And we're living in a more stressful environment than ever. And so we become more mineral deplete because of these things. We had to make ATP from these minerals. Minerals are needed for nervous system balance, collagen and tissue repair, skin quality, blood sugar control, bone density, mitochondria efficiency, hydration, and electrolyte balance. And over 50% of Americans, I even say higher, Americans specifically are mineral deficient. And nearly every fatigue, craving, bloating, or skin issue involves mineral depletion. How minerals make peptides work better is that peptides require minerals to build collagen, like GHK, Cu, copper peptides needs copper and zinc. Activate, and then another reason why peptides need minerals is that it activates mitochondria. MOTS-c requires magnesium and manganese to signal fat oxidation. Sloop relies on magnesium. So can you see the magnesium pattern here? And chromium as well. Also support thyroid-driven metabolism, maintain electrolyte balance for detox. So minerals are the spark plugs for peptide action. So these should be used synergistically. The last slide here, the foundational truth you need to know, peptides do not work optimally unless your body has the foundations in place. They're signals, peptides are, not building blocks. They tell your cells what to do, but if the cell doesn't have the nutrients to respond, nothing happens. And you cannot get the full benefits of peptides like beauty and fat loss and metabolism, collagen, recovery, hormones, if you're missing depleted in magnesium, B vitamins, trace minerals, electrolytes, mitochondria support, detox capacity, gut integrity, and proper methylation. And that's where the foundational supplements become a non-negotiable. And why you'll feel peptides more when your body has its foundations in place. When you take high quality foundational supplements like CellCore, TriMag, the practitioner grade B complex that we have, the CellCore core nutrients, the core stack I just showed you guys, the trio, which the CellCore nutrients is multi-minerals with fulvic, humic, carbon-based carriers. So you don't need to take separate things for binders. You don't need to take activated charcoal. That's just going to deplete your minerals even further. When you take this stack, you don't need to take a whole bunch of other binders as well, as if you want to keep it super simple. Your cells finally have what they do to build collagen, burn fat, convert peptides into real results, detox properly, repair inflammation, stabilize hormones, improve skin elasticity, produce energy, support neurotransmitters, and strengthen mitochondria a lot. In other words, foundations make peptides work. Foundations make peptides faster. Foundations make peptides safer and stronger. And without these foundations, peptides are like architects with no materials to build on. But with the foundations, peptides become superchargers for beauty, fat loss, energy, and metabolic repair. And the truth is that cheap supplements will sit in your gut. They'll deplete your gut. They'll actually cause your gut lining to be even more leaky. But high quality supplements like CellCore get into your cells. They're bioavailable. Peptides can then communicate with your cells. If your cells are nutrient deficient, peptides can't do their job. If your cells are nourished, peptides produce dramatic transformation. Now, the last thing I wanted to share, and I'll only talk about this for a few minutes because it's a little bit depressing, but my uncle died on Sunday night. He was an addict his whole life. And what I learned in this journey is that I don't believe anyone is an addict. When you hear people say, I'm so-and-so, I'm an addict, and I'm an addict, AA teaches that. They actually create shame by making you that I am an addict is different than I have addiction tendencies. I believe that we all have addiction tendencies based on biochemical and emotional patterns. And I'm going to share something after this so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. If there are amino acid deficiencies, there's neurotransmitter deficiencies. And when you repair this, you repair addiction. And this ties into peptides, B vitamins, hormones, and trauma healing as well. So I'm talking about the biochemical is how you can heal addiction. But when you do trauma healing and everything else, talk therapy, it's going to be the other half of healing addiction. If I knew then what I know now, I would be looking at this, the amino acid therapy chart. If you guys are in the VIP group, you get this for free, and I can support you with this. I'm going to move into the VIP group now because I want you guys to know that this is something you can print out, and I want to support you with this, because if you have deficiencies in neurotransmitters, you're going to crave the things that you can see in column B, and you can benefit from taking things in column C. And then there's other things like peptides that can support as well. But if you look at the substances used in column B, it's in every one of them. Alcohol is in every one of them almost. Low serotonin, low blood sugar, low endorphins, low GABA, and low catecholamines. For the most part, all of them. Your body is going to crave alcohol when you're low in these things. So I'm going to talk about things like Selenk in the VIP group. I'm going to talk about CMAX, and I'm going to talk about tesofensine. These are the 3 peptides that if you don't even join the VIP group, these are powerful peptides that can support with addictions. And I talk about that in the peptide power course even further. Selenk is the anti-anxiety, anti-craving neuropeptide. Some CMAC is the dopamine and motivation repair peptide. And these are both only used in intranasal. So that's the good news. People see massive, massive changes when they take these 2, either individually or collectively. And then tesofensine is a capsule form. It's a compulsion and craving reset peptide. We see massive, massive improvements for people who are addicted to anything. Could be gambling, could be food, it could be alcohol, it could be drugs. It reduces compulsive behaviors. It stabilizes dopamine. It reduces reward-seeking cycles. Could even be Instagram scrolling, needing constant likes and comments and things like that. Attention. You know, a lot of these days narcissists, they crave attention. Well, that's an addiction too. So tesofensine could be very helpful for that. It lifts depression and emotional flatness during recovery, reduces cravings. There's tons of studies on this stuff, you guys. Oxytocin is a bonus peptide, and I'll talk more about that in the VIP group. But how they work together is Selenk calms anxiety and it interrupts the urge. CMAX rebuilds dopamine and motivation, and tesofensine regulates compulsive behavior and cravings. Together, they support the 3 pillars of addiction recovery: emotional regulation, neurochemical balance, or imbalance, I should say, and compulsion control. Never forget the foundations. I talk about this in every single podcast. Never forget the foundations that I have on the slide. And the Peptide Power course is available this week for 40% off. And that's the link, dianekaiser.com/peptides. So I did go a little bit over today. I'm going to stop my screen share and I'm going to move over to the VIP group. So hopefully you guys will see you there. Use LF40 to get 40% off the Peptide Power course this week, which has tons of information like this and more. And you'll get your first 7 days free in the VIP group, which is where I'm going to meet you guys right now. So definitely don't want to undermine the fact that it's been very hard for our family to lose my uncle to his addiction. That eventually led to him just dying in the hospital this past week. But at least he died very calmly, and my cousin was there with him to see him to the other side. So I just wanted to share this with everybody out there, because addiction is not a necessary thing, and you don't have to be bound to it for the rest of your life. So your family doesn't have to see you die a miserable death in pain and suffering. I love you all. I'll see you on the other side, and I'll also see you next week. Officially, happy holidays. I'm Dr. Diane Kaiser, and I will see you in the next show or in the VIP group. And I'm here to support you with all your peptide questions, as well as any beauty questions in the VIP group. But if you see this episode, please don't text me and ask me questions, because I cannot support everybody and I don't want to disappoint you. I'll see you in the VIP group. Okay, bye for now.